All right, let's jump right in. We hear the phrase going green thrown around all the time, right? But what does that really mean for a business today? I can tell you it's way more than just putting a few recycling bins in the office. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in how companies think and operate. And that's exactly what we're going to break down.
And that leads us to the big question, the one that's at the heart of this whole conversation. Is this big push for sustainability just about being a good corporate citizen, doing the right thing for the planet? Or is there something else going on here? A powerful business case that actually makes going green a huge strategic advantage? Let's find out.
So, before we can even begin to answer that, we need to make sure we're all on the same page. Let's start with a really clear definition of what green business even is.
At its heart, it all boils down to this one idea: environmental sustainability. And the most important words there are for future generations. See, this isn't about short-term PR stunts. It's about having a long-term vision, making sure that how we do business today doesn't wreck the planet for our kids and their kids.
Okay, so knowing the definition is one thing, but how do companies actually do it? How do they take this big idea and turn it into real-world action? Let's take a look.
Well, it usually starts with the basics, the stuff you might think of right away. Things like cutting back on waste, being smarter with energy, switching over to renewables like solar and wind, and of course, actively trying to shrink that carbon footprint. These are kind of the essential first steps for any company wanting to get on the path to sustainability.
But to be truly sustainable, a company has to go deeper. We're talking about weaving these ideas into the very fabric of their operations. That means designing products to be eco-friendly from the very start. That's eco-design. It means embracing what's called a circular economy, where you're not just making, using, and tossing stuff, but you're reusing and recycling it back into the system. And finally, you've got to prove it with official certifications like ISO 14001, which is basically a seal of approval that says, yup, these guys are legit.
And this brings us to a super important turning point. Because doing all this work, it isn't just about feeling good or doing a good deed. There's a powerful double motivation at play here.
First, you've got the reason we all know and understand. Protecting the planet, taking care of our ecosystems, it's just the right thing to do. It's a responsibility we all share. That's the moral imperative.
But, and this is a huge but, it doesn't end there. This is where the real business revolution is happening. Being sustainable isn't a trade-off against profits anymore. Now, it's a direct driver of profit. It has become an economic imperative too. Let's just look at this side by side. For the planet, the benefit is clear. Protected ecosystems. Awesome. But now look at the profit column. When you reduce waste and save energy, you're directly cutting your costs. A green reputation attracts a huge and growing market of conscious consumers. And on top of all that, governments and investors are literally rewarding sustainable companies. It's a total win-win.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but let's see how it plays out in the real world. And honestly, there might not be a better example of this planet and profit model in action than Tesla.
This quote really just hits the nail on the head. Tesla isn't just a car company that happens to be green. They're a prime example of how to build an incredibly profitable and scalable business where sustainability isn't an add-on, it's the entire point.
I mean, just look at the breakdown. Their EVs and battery technology are aimed squarely at reducing global carbon emissions from transport. Their solar energy solutions are all about pushing clean, renewable tech forward. You see, every core product is designed to be a solution to a huge environmental problem and a massive source of profit.
So, after looking at the what, the how, and a real-world titan like Tesla, what's the big takeaway? What's the one crucial lesson we should all walk away with?
It's this, right here. The old school idea that there's a conflict between protecting the environment and making money, well, that idea is becoming obsolete. The smartest, most successful businesses of the future get that these two things are now deeply connected. Doing good for the planet is quite simply good for business, period.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. If companies like Tesla can completely upend the auto and energy industries by making sustainability profitable, what's next? What part of our world is about to be revolutionized by the next big innovator who figures out how to turn a green idea into gold?